Acura first revealed the prototype for the third generation RDX at the 2018 North American Auto Show, and it was the first vehicle to adapt Acura's new precision-crafted performance design language, technology, and performance. Acura had been going through a period of slowed sales and somewhat of an identity crisis with its cars. But with the introduction of the 2019 RDX, Acura slowly began to reinvent itself, starting with the RDX, followed by the 2021 TLX, 2022 MDX, and then finally the 2023 Integra. Part of Acura's identity crisis was the question of whether or not it was a true luxury brand. The quality of their interiors were subpar compared to its competition, technology was old and lacking, and they came across an unlikely new competitor, their own parent company, Honda. Honda made huge strides to make their vehicles more premium during the mid to late 2010s, to the point where the lines between Acura and Honda became very blurred. Certain vehicles just made no sense to purchase over its Honda counterparts. However, the third generation Acura RDX changed all of that, and today we're going to find out why. Let's get into the design. Starting with the grille, this was the first car that Acura designed around this grille. It's called the Diamond Pentagon grille, and that huge logo is there and it's in your face. The reason it's so big is because it houses radar sensors for some of the car's safety features. The dual eye headlights were the one design element carried over from their older cars, and I'm here for it. They slightly modified them by adding these daytime running lights along the bottom of the housings that Acura calls the chicane, because it's supposed to emulate a chicane on a road or a racetrack. Along the bottom of the bumper, you have these side air curtains that supposedly make the car more aerodynamic, but I'll admit I'm not completely sold on it. A lot of cars have them, but I don't know. The hood has some pretty dramatic sculpting to it, and a signature of Acura is that crease at the very center point of the hood. The wheels are 19-inch 10-spoke machine-finished alloys, and they're inoffensive and appropriate for the car. This is riding on 235/55/19 Continental all-season tires. Looking at the side of the vehicle, the way that the body lines flow into each other is very aesthetically pleasing. You have some chrome along the top of the doors as well as above the windows, and looking at the back you have the dragon tail taillights that are LED, but unfortunately the turn signals are incandescent bulbs, which is really disappointing considering the 2020 CR-V, which is the Honda counterpart, has LED turn signals in the rear. The dual chrome-tipped exhaust is looking sharp though. You have a nice one-touch power liftgate with an adjustable height setting, and a cargo area of 29.5 cubic feet of space with the seats up, and 58.9 cubic feet of space with the rear seats folded down. Another nice feature is that all RDXs come standard with a powered panoramic moonroof. It really allows the cabin to feel more airy and spacious than it really is. Taking a look under the hood here is a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine putting out 272 horsepower and 280 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60 takes roughly 6.5 seconds, and that's delivered by a 10-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy ratings are combined 23 miles per gallon, that's 21 city and 27 highway, and the capacity of the fuel tank is 17.1 gallons. Now going inside the car, you'll see the RDX has a very premium and luxurious looking and feeling interior. There's a lot of great materials used in here, like this soft leatherette on the dashboard and stitched leather around the center console. There's real aluminum trim on the door handles, speaker covers, and center console. You have a nice 10.2-inch infotainment screen, and this is where things get controversial. So this screen is not touchscreen, it's controlled by this trackpad down here, and it's had people in an uproar ever since it came out. Now, do I prefer a touchscreen? Yes, I do. But there's really nothing wrong with the trackpad. If you give yourself more than 5 minutes to figure it out, you will easily be able to do this. This car belongs to my dad. He's 62 and he's not the most fluent person when it comes to modern technology, but he has no issue using the trackpad. Sorry, Dad. I think people just need something to be outraged about, and it's just so stupid. Another thing that's quite different about this interior is the gear selector, or rather, lack of. The transmission is controlled by buttons, and I'm not sure how I feel about it. I feel like it's really easy to accidentally press the wrong button. Then you have this big ass knob in the middle, and this lets you select different drive modes, including sport and snow modes. Using the snow mode paired with the super handling all-wheel drive system, allows for confident control while driving in the snow. I think the storage space in the center console is kind of small, and this large opening underneath can only accommodate large items like a purse, so it really doesn't do much for me. The glove box is a good size though. The front seats have perforated leather and are heated with 3 different settings, and the driver's seat has memory settings for 2 people. The ELS Studio audio system in the car sounds incredible, and it's not even the fully spec'd 3D version of it. So now I'm sitting in the back right behind where I have my driver's seat adjusted for myself at 6 feet tall. There's 38 inches of legroom, a soft center armrest, 2 seat pockets, air vents, and 2 USB-A ports. Not bad. And the nice materials from the front also carry over to the back. Now let's take this thing for a spin. All right, we're in the 2020 RDX, and this is going to be a first impression drive test because I have never driven this before. I've ridden in it countless times as a passenger with my dad driving, but this is my first time driving. I've always wanted to take it out for a spin, so I am excited to get into this drive test. Now, before we start driving, just want to go over some of these drive modes here. So there's 4 modes. There's one for snow, comfort, sport, and sport plus. From my research, I think the car defaults to sport. So I first want to try out the comfort mode just to get a feeling of what's, you know, the softest I can get the car to ride with the suspension. So I'm going to put this into comfort mode, and now we're going to take this out for a spin. Okay, so in all the times I've ridden in the car with my dad, the car was definitely in sport mode because he doesn't mess with any of this stuff. So I've never actually experienced the car in comfort mode before, so I'm excited. Let's see how it goes. So this car we're driving is the Technology Package. So this car, for its suspension, it does not come with adaptive dampers. That is only on the advanced trim, at least for the 2020 year. Now, as I'm going over some of these bumps, I'm really not feeling them a whole lot. The ride is very soft. I wouldn't call it floaty like a Toyota, but it's smooth. Again, it's smooth, it's forgiving. Now, my only gripe in stop and go traffic here is this auto engine stop. I always turn that off. I realize people like it for fuel economy, but I just hate that delay of having the engine restart when you need to go. So that's just a personal opinion. I know most people love that, but me, I can't do it. So I always turn it off. I wish there was a way in settings that you could like permanently disable it, but you can't. So unfortunately, every time you get in the car, you got to press the button in order to turn off the idle stop. Now, one thing I am noticing here in comfort mode that I think is a good thing is that even though the ride is much softer, there is no difference in the acceleration. The car isn't slowed down at all. And like in my car, I drive the Honda Civic. In normal drive mode versus sport mode, there is a major difference in the acceleration because it holds the RPMs higher in sport mode. But you really get that feeling of luxury driving in here because you don't get too much road noise. It's nice and quiet in here, and again, it just feels so refined. Do a little pull here. Whoo! Yeah, that 10-speed automatic really kicks. It seems like that the RPMs really don't get too high before it shifts into the next gear, but with 10 gears, it's got to shift at some point, right? And obviously the 10 speed is another thing that is supposed to help for fuel economy because, you know, this is a turbocharged engine, so you need that kind of balance of performance and fuel economy like anywhere you can get it. But the fuel economy in this car still overall isn't great. There's cars in this segment that
do have significantly better fuel economy, but all these things are kind of give and take. You got to choose what's important to you and what's not. It's just so smooth, so quiet. It's like a therapeutic experience, a good place to like decompress. Now the sound system in this car is great. We're gonna get into that in a little bit, but just riding in here in silence, it's just so serene. I love it, and I haven't had the experience yet of being able to drive in here alone, and I'm loving every second of this. That was a quick sample of the audio. The system we have in here is a 12-speaker ELS Studio system. Now this is not the ELS Studio 3D system. That's only in the A-Spec and advanced trim levels. So this is a 12-speaker system. The 3D system has 16 speakers, and that 3D system is regarded as one of the best in the automotive industry. But let me tell you, this 12-speaker system right here is fantastic. I don't see why you need more speakers than that. Don't get me wrong, I know the 3D system sounds incredible, even better than this, but let me tell you, this one, just the way it is fantastic. All right, time for my favorite part of the test, and that's going to be acceleration. And for that, we're making sure we get full functionality here. So we're going into Sport Plus mode. I think these graphics are really cool. All right, Sport Plus. Now, without even pushing it, I can really feel the difference between this and Comfort. You can see, just like in the Honda Civic, holding the RPMs higher, around 2,500. All right, let's see what we got. Woohoo! Wow, you can really feel the power in this thing. When you push it, it just throws you right back in your seat. That transmission is so responsive. Wow. Oh, I'm a kid in a candy store right now. I'm having a blast. I love this 10-speed automatic transmission, and it's like a variation of the same one in the 2-liter turbo Honda Accord. And it's just so unfortunate that for the 2023 Accord, they got rid of that transmission, and now that car is a hybrid. Oh, that just hurts my soul. Once you have it in the Sport Plus mode, when you go to do a pull like that, it drops down, and then you really just get that turbo boost. Now, despite the car being in Sport Plus mode, the ride quality doesn't change much. I mean, the Comfort mode obviously is going to be the softest ride, but this ride in Sport Plus mode isn't harsh by any means. Still just ran over that pothole. It's still just eating up all those vibrations and just keeping the ride nice and smooth. Now, something I think is important to note in regard to the audio system is you see here I'm using the Bluetooth audio as opposed to the Apple CarPlay, and that's because there's an audible difference in the sound quality between the Bluetooth and the Apple CarPlay. The Bluetooth audio sounds much better than the Apple CarPlay audio. In comparison, the Apple CarPlay audio, it loses a bit of its dynamic range. low end bass is a little bit muffled, and kind of just overall it loses its quality, overall tonality, and overall crispness of the sound. All right, we're at the back roads, and now it's time to get a good look at the steering and handling. Here we go. Tight corners. Wow, that super handling all-wheel drive is incredible. Wow. Steering, typical Honda steering, nice and precise and direct. But man, let me tell you, the way this all-wheel drive works on these turns, the side-to-side torque vectoring, yeah, I understand now why people say that Acura super handling all-wheel drive is likely the best in the industry. Wow. I'm fangirling over this car in case you couldn't tell. I mean, with this all-wheel drive system, you can floor it into corners like nothing. It's so firm and planted, it's ridiculous. That side-to-side torque vectoring of the system, it's just incredible. That system can send up to 70% of the power straight to the rear. Now in those really tight turns, you can really feel that push you get from that braking on one side and the acceleration on the other side to get you through that turn. I mean, coming from somebody who drives a front-wheel drive car, I mean, the difference, it's drastic. I always thought, you know, my front-wheel drive Civic drove well, but this is just in a whole nother tier. When people say this all-wheel drive system is the best, it's for a reason. They're not lying. All right, so that's gonna wrap up the test drive portion of this video. And now something to remember is that the current 2023 RDX that's out now is still the same car as this with just a mild refresh. The changes they made were only just slightly cosmetic. Basically, they put a new front bumper, they gave the exhaust square tips instead of round, except for the A-spec, those are still round. And on the inside, they added some like ambient lighting in here that isn't in this one, but mechanically the car is the exact same. So it's still current, it's still relevant. And if you go the used route, getting a 19 or a 20, you're still gonna get the same car as the 2023, but just at a much better price. And with Honda and Acura reliability, the fact that there's already miles on the car doesn't even matter. The car is guaranteed to last you, I'd say, at least 200,000 miles. Easy, no problem. Probably go way more than that. So again, I hope this video was able to give you some insight as to whether or not the Acura RDX is something you may be interested in, a car you may want to look into. So if you felt this video, go down to your local Acura, take a test drive, and just see for yourself. I mean, you're really going to be impressed by it. The high quality premium feel, the solid precision handling, the responsive steering, the quick transmission. So if you're in the market for a luxury compact SUV, this better be on your list at least to check out.
Now, I can't end this video without disclosing some important information on some of the issues this car has. On this channel, I'm going to keep it 100% real with you guys and not sugarcoat anything because I refuse to mislead anyone or withhold information. This car has had its share of issues since the 2019 model, and I've gathered these from RDX Facebook groups because the best source of information you can receive on the user experience of a product is from the user, not the manufacturer, because obviously they're going to keep as quiet as they can on these issues. First, there have been reported issues regarding the brake rotors and pads. Not a safety issue, but just an annoyance because they squeak very loudly. This car I have here had them replaced. The second issue has to do with the panoramic moonroof. Many units had the frames of the moonroof installed incorrectly at the factory, causing a frequent popping sound, and a recall was issued and the dealer replaced it free of charge. Now, the most wild problem on this list is that several people with this car have had the misfortune of having their rear hatch window randomly shatter. Yes, you heard that right. Many RDX's rear windshields have shattered, and the cause of the problem was determined to be the rear window defroster. Acura installed rear defrosters that were too strong for the grade of glass the window was made of. Acura supposedly fixed this problem for the 2021 model year, so if you're 2021 and up, you're likely in the clear. Now, despite those few flaws, this car is an absolute joy to drive with its quick acceleration and nearly flawless handling. There's definitely pros and cons to weigh out here, but that's a decision for you to make. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button and tell me your thoughts on the RDX down in the comments. And subscribe and hit that notification bell if you want to see more reviews just like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys later.